Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Robert Ferguson. I am your nutrition coach. I'm a guy who shares because I care. And today will be a good one because we're going to talk about something that you may not be familiar with. Now, before we dive in and get into the nitty gritty of what is to be talked about on a fabulous Saturday as I record this live, I want to just encourage you as you catch me on this beautiful Saturday in California. I want you to post any questions, any comments, anything you want to share, bring it because we're not stuck to just what I'm going to share. Now, what I'm going to share is going to be something that you can benefit from. Now, if you're a nurse, you would want to pay close attention to this. If you're a doctor, I would strongly recommend you pay close attention. If you're a personal trainer, a nutritionist, or someone who's in the world of wanting to help other people as it pertains to nutrition, I would say you definitely want to pay attention. And more important than anyone else, if you care about your own personal well-being and health, as well as those you come in contact with, to include your grandkids or your kids, then this is information that can help you, right? Because when you're not informed, what happens is you're more likely to be influenced to go in certain directions from people who are misinformed. Now, they may be confident and they may know their stuff and come across like they really got it going on. But the large majority of the time, not always, but the large majority of the time, wherever you're getting information is probably not good. And you can find that out pretty quick by using this resource called Google. Take notes of whatever you hear and go check on it. And if you know me, and if something feels kind of weird, let's say you went to a personal training or a fitness class this morning, and the person who was teaching fitness made a comment, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I know this guy, Robert Ferguson, so I'm going to ask him, what does he think? And then bring it here because there's way more misinformation out there. And you're listening to people, and a lot of you just take what you hear and just run with it. And it's so sad because as I coach people and help people, I look at like, how did you get to this place where you were doing what you were doing? You were taking certain supplements only to find out that a lot of the things that you were doing and not doing, as well as the supplements you were taking, have actually been harming you, causing problems. And you know this is real because every year as a country and a world, we're getting fatter. More people get fatty liver. More people are pre-diabetic. More people become type 2 diabetic. More people have kidney problems. More people are having problems with inflammation. So we know what I'm saying is true. All you got to do is just look at every year. Everyone's getting worse. So when are we going to wake up? Well, all I can tell you is that my clients, the people I work with, the ones who stay the course, they're healthier. They're doing pretty damn good. They're in a better place. So I know that having an evidence-based, clinically proven methodology, as well as all our coaches, we have certified coaches, we're helping people and we can prove it each and every week. And what makes it unique and cool is that they're learning how to eat regular, everyday food. I mean, I don't know what else people are looking for. I mean, we bring it. And that's why the big Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 20 companies, that's why we're talking to them. That's why we're doing deals. Anyway, I'm not here to brag. My goal is to share information because I care. And we're going to talk about this thing called lipotoxicity. And if you're not familiar with what that is, you want to know what that is. Now, before I dive in, again, I want to welcome any comments. I want you to I want you guys to be here. Okay, this is all about you. Let's have some fun. Everything that I'm sharing with you is brought to you by our DETOX Drop. Also, if any of you really want to know and be informed, okay, we have a course coming up in October. We still have the early bird special that's available. Don't put it off. Sign up. If you can't be there live that day, that's fine. It will be on demand. But be informed. Otherwise, I'm telling you, there's people right now listening or people who will catch the replay. And some of you, you know who I'm talking about. You took a course, you spent hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars listening to someone that they knew more than you did, or they came across with more confidence, and you just went with it. Only to find out 6 months later, a year later, 5 years later, that you were going in the wrong direction and you had some misinformation, let me tell you. Don't be that person. And if it's happened to you, Use your wisdom so it doesn't happen to you again. All right? Okay. So let's get into this. And let's talk about this thing called lipotoxicity. What is lipotoxicity? And why should you care? Now, if you don't know what lipotoxicity is when you hear the word, but you know what glucose is, well, it's time for you to know what lipotoxicity is. Now, you could Google it, you could look it up, and you have a pretty good understanding of it once you do that. But one, let's go, why am I 59 years old and I'm just now learning this? Why am I, 68 years old and I'm just now learning this? Well, many of you, especially if you've been my client, you may not know what the word is because maybe we didn't use the word in explaining, but you know exactly what it is based on what it is. Okay, so lipotoxicity. So like lipo, when we look at the word lipo, we are talking about like fat cells, fatty acids in the body. And toxicity is what it is, right? It's something that becomes toxic to the body. And now when you think of fat cells, okay, or fatty acids, right? When you eat food that has fat in it, whether it's saturated fat, monounsaturated fat, polyunsaturated, whatever the fatty acid is, if it's not used for fuel, then we know there's a relationship between fatty acids and fat cells. Because in normal functioning of the body, it can be stored, fatty acids can be stored in fat cells. Okay, so so we get that. The problem, and when we talk about toxicity, is when the fatty acids are not stored in fat cells, but they end up accumulating. We're talking about fatty acids. They end up accumulating inside of tissues like your kidneys, like your liver, fatty liver, like your heart, and your skeletal muscle. Yes, your skeletal muscle, which we've been talking about recently, of how important it is. There is fatty acids, fat that will accumulate inside of your skeletal muscle. And this is really important, right? Because when fatty acids, these lipids, fat is stored in your skeletal muscles, which is referred to, I guess the technical term is intramyocellular lipid. Well, this is a disorder, and this ties into messing with circulation, oftentimes tied into inflammation. It induces a toxic state, and ultimately, when the fat gets into our muscles, we have insulin resistance in the muscles. This is not good for a whole bunch of reasons. Some of you, it's kind of like I'll work with a client who has Hashimoto's, or maybe I'll work with a client with lupus, or I work with a client with, various like inflammatory challenges. And because of our methodology and how we teach people how to eat, we see a lot of these things improve. But let me tell you, as a coach, it's really nice to know what to look for and to put a person in a position where I could explain insulin resistance and help them understand what it really means. Because there's some people who are buying supplements online through infomercials that say that the supplement can reverse insulin resistance. This is an example where great marketing, using a little bit of truth about insulin resistance, is bamboozling people, fooling people because you're uninformed. You don't know any better. If you and I were sitting down watching that same infomercial, do you really think that I would be like, oh yeah, I want to buy that? I think there's an infomercial called Golo, right? Golo. And I haven't seen it recently, but they do a really good job with their marketing. But do you really think I'm going to watch that and go, hey, let's order me some of that too? That's not going to happen because I know how the body works. Food is medicine. A supplement is not medicine. Food is medicine. And I'm going to share with you guys exactly like some foods that 100% helps to reverse insulin resistance, to include fatty liver. which 25 to 45% of the adult population in America and Canada and throughout Europe has fatty liver. It's mind-blowing to me. So lipotoxicity is the buildup of fat in areas or tissues in your body that is not fat cells. Now, what is the cause of lipotoxicity? Well, there's a lot of things. But again, it just really comes down to, for some reason, you have a buildup of fat, and the fat can't get into fat cells. And then that plays a huge role in the development of these challenges, to include now conditions like diabetes, cardiomyopathy, and of course, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. You can be thin and have all this happening, and you can be overweight having all this happening. Now, another thing for me to mention, and if you guys have questions about that, feel free, is that your fat cell can become insulin resistant, and it will start to bleed fat as a result of insulin resistance. So you may not be eating a lot of fat, but yet have a buildup of fatty liver. So a lot of people go, okay, Robert, you have me, but now you just confused me. So you're saying if I cut back on my fat, right? So if I eat less fat, and I stick to lean proteins, I can still have lipotoxicity. I could have fatty liver. I could have the fat build up in my muscles. It can build up in my heart, but I'm not eating fat. How is that? Well, if your fat cell is insulin resistant, it starts to build and swell, and that fat cell starts to bleed fat. And so fat leaks out of your fat cell into your blood, gets to those tissues where it accumulates. This is something that happens. You ready for this? When people take those drugs, those weight loss drugs, this can happen because the majority of the weight they're losing is not fat. They're losing skeletal muscle and a lot of water, primarily, and their body fat percentage goes up. So you may be lighter on the scale. Let's say you have a woman that's 200 pounds. She starts taking this drug, and we know this scientifically. All the data is there. This ain't my opinion. This is all based on what can be substantiated. She weighs 200 pounds, and she loses, let's say, 50 pounds. All of her friends, because they're ignorant, they don't know any better, are saying, girl, that drug worked. Woohoo, I am so proud of you. Look at you go. You look great. But what they don't realize is that she lost a lot of skeletal muscle. So her weight is down on the scale. She looks like it's working based on what you can see, but her body fat percentage went up. So she's smaller on the scale, but she's fatter in reality. So you lose weight, but you get fatter. Talk about smoke and mirrors. This is happening. And I don't want to go on a tangent because I've done that already. Any of you guys out there, if you've heard me and you know me and you go and you still take that drug, that's when I would call you stupid. And don't be insulted. And I love you. I'm a Christian. I really do. But I would say that you're stupid because you knew better. You knew better, and you have now put yourself in a worse situation with your overall health because you decided to take a shortcut and you were aware. Now, for the people who aren't aware, then, even the Bible is clear on this, right? Because you have a kid that makes a mistake or does something bad at 10 or 11 years, they don't know yet. But when you are informed and you choose to still go for it, then that's on you. Because for you guys who are older, and I'm saying anybody over 45, you can't afford, it's not to your best interest to lose skeletal muscle. Now, some of these people, and we're seeing this with the people who are losing weight on the drugs now. I was looking at a study this morning, and in this report, they were saying that they lost weight. Some people had improved their fatty liver, and some people's fatty liver got worse. And it's because of what I just said. You're smaller, but on the inside of your body, you're fatter. And your doctor don't know. to tell you that you got fatty liver. You don't even know. So you're thinking, he ain't talking about me because I just lost 40 pounds. We don't know. We do not know unless we take a look. Now, when I'm coaching you, for instance, there's a quick way to have a strong understanding, or we can indicate, is there a high likelihood of you having fatty liver? Yep. And then we know exactly what markers to improve on. Well, that's because that's my job, right? So a doctor's job is to let you know you have it when they finally catch it, and then to give you some ideas, oftentimes medication. My thing with the food as medicine approach is we have a pretty good indication that you have it. We can confirm that with your doctor. And once you have it, I know how to reverse it. Like one of my new clients, her name is Michelle. And Michelle, if you catch this, I just want to say she sent me her lab work this morning and I was looking at it. And as I was looking at her lab work, I was going through what I go through when I look at lab work. And she's aware of this other company that's really pushing the semaglutide and the Trulicity drugs and all of these weight loss drugs. And I am so happy that her and I connected, because as a result of the two of us connecting, if she gone down the road where they were about to get her to do this drug, she would have been in a much, 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 much worse situation in 5 years that would almost be something you couldn't even reverse. The damage would set in. See, a lot of you don't know that there's 4 stages of fatty liver disease, right? Stage 1, your doctor don't know, you don't know. Oh, you get lucky and you catch it. Stage 2, you can still reverse it, but it's worsening and years are going by. You're kind of still doing the same old things. Stage 3, okay, it's starting to get serious. The likelihood of reversing it is starting to reduce. And then stage 4, many of you are aware of it, called cirrhosis of the liver. You can't reverse that. Too much damage is done. And now the kidneys got some problems because look, fat, as I mentioned, not just accumulates in the muscle, not just accumulate in the liver, but it's also accumulating in the kidneys. Why do you think we have look around. Why are so many people on dialysis? A lot of people are doing it at home, right? A lot of people have to go to a dialysis center. There's options. There's a lot of smart, educated people. I know this really educated person who works for like a multi-billion-dollar company, does dialysis at home, fully aware of what I do, and does nothing about it. Where do you think that's going to end? I know where it's going to end. It ain't going to end good. She ain't going to be able to reverse that. There's not much she's going to be able to do. Whereas one of my clients I talked about the other day, he's 93 years old. He's stage 3 with his kidneys, insulin pump, glucose was all over the place. And man, I'm watching him preserve his kidney, dropping some body fat, bringing down his insulin. Everything is getting better. His son introduced me to him, and that's what's happening right now. See, all right, let me explain this, because some of you guys, I don't know who I'm talking to, right? Like some of you know, and maybe I talk to you a lot or you listen to me on a regular basis, so it builds. But a lot of people catch me for the first time, or they listen, they're like, okay, well, maybe there's nothing I didn't know, or well, how do you do that? And they have a hard time understanding how we got to where we're able to do what we can do, right? So if you had 10 people in a room that are all type 2 diabetic, and based on the work that we do, we're able to get 9 of those people to no longer be a type 2 diabetic with our methodology on how we teach people how to eat, using regular food, getting people off medications. With there being over 30 million type 2 diabetics, 90 million pre-diabetics, just in the United States. So that means that if 10 people are listening to me share this information, 5 of you are pre-diabetic or you have diabetes. If 20 people are listening to this, at least 10 of you are pre-diabetic or you're full-blown type 2 diabetic. At least 50% have some level of insulin resistance. So that's almost, so if I have 5,000 Facebook friends and they're all adults, and let's say 1,000 of them are really young, work out all the time, don't have any problems as far as like what we're talking about. So let's take 4,000. That means 2,000 people who get to hear me share this kind of information have insulin resistance, they're pre-diabetic or full-blown diabetic, and out of that, let's say 4,000 people, we know that a minimum of 1,000 of them have fatty liver. And here's the saddest part for me is that even though I'm here, I'm putting it out there. Reach out to me, learn about our discount programs. You want to become a client, you want to become a coach, you want to learn how to help other people, email us. Email us. There are people of influence that are leading fitness classes, people of influence who are taking all kind of courses and they ain't helping nobody. Matter of fact, they're actually probably causing those people to be in a worse situation. And I can say that because I watch what people are recommending when it comes to supplements. I watch how people are making money with, side gigs as network marketing, and they're just pushing supplements, push supplements. Take this, drink this. Here's another supplement. I mean, come on. And as soon as they hear me say that, they just assume the words, oh, I don't want to listen to him. He's like anti. I'm not anti. I recommend some supplements. But are you fully aware of the ingredients in the supplements that you're recommending? You're not. You're trusting a company that told you it's okay and you can make money. Get people taking this. It tastes good. That's all you know. That's all you know. And the people don't know any better. They just take what you tell them to take. I mean, come on. And then you got a lot of celebrity influencers. They just get a deal. Company reaches out to them. They don't know how to vet it to see if it's a good thing. They're just going to take a check and they're going to recommend it and say, hey, I endorse this product because it's paying them money because they now have a show. Now, there are some good products out there. I'm not saying every product's bad. I am not saying that at all. And as part of our outreach and to help people, you could send us any supplement. If you want us to look at it, give you our feedback. I had 5 different people send supplements this morning. I don't even know them. They're not even my clients. But it came in. My assistant, Lori, forwarded it to me. I looked at the ingredients. I said, I don't see a problem. That doesn't mean there isn't a problem, but I didn't see nothing, real quick. I mean, you're talking 5 seconds. I could look at the ingredients and look at the panels for nutrition facts and have an opinion that will be based on facts. I didn't see any problem with the ones that came in today. Now, a week ago, I know a couple people had strokes. I would be willing to bet, and I would go in and testify as a witness, an expert witness, and say, I think the supplements this person was taking 100% may have played a huge role in why one had a mini stroke and one had a massive stroke. And it's stuff they're taking. I mean, you know what? I mean, I don't know. I mean, come on. So then when it comes to lipotoxicity, let's get back to focus. A lot of you have inflammation in your body, and I hear you talk about it, and you look for ways to eat. Some of you are buying fish oils. I would say most fish oils that you buy from the store are toxic, they're rancid, they are doing way more damage than good. I do not recommend fish oil supplements. There's a little bit of studies out there that support it, but there's more studies and support on the fact that if you are eating foods that are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, like salmon, like walnuts, maybe like ground flaxseed, if you want to put that in a smoothie, that is what has been demonstrated to help lower metabolic concerns, whether it's triglycerides, as well as inflammation. But most of the supplements out there are not helping you the way you think they are. They're not. Now you'll go, hey, I heard this guy and he said this, and whoever you talk to, they're going to convince you. I had one of my clients went to a company where she was taking a product, and she heard me talk about a couple things like DL alpha tocopherol. I made some comments about synthetic versions of vitamin B. And and maybe vitamin E. Those are the ones I've talked about. And when I say vitamin B, vitamin B12. And she posed a question and to say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? I'm taking your supplement and I have suspicion or I'm concerned with the synthetic version of this product or these ingredients that are synthetic, blah, 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 the empire. And it was just sad to see the response. She emailed me and I got to see the response. I was like, wow, that's their response. And then there was a follow-up response. And here's the deal. Who knows who that person is that did the response? But I found it extremely sad because the synthetic version is usually the cheapest version. And then there's usually natural sources. And unless enough people bring up concerns to certain ingredients, they're going to just keep it in there because the mass majority aren't even aware of it. So let's just keep pushing this. Let's just keep, encouraging people to take it. And, no one's going to know that my client called them on it except for her. But the good news is at least she's aware. At least my client is aware. And I feel like I did my job. So that being said, any questions, you guys, while you got me? We talked about lipotoxicity, and I believe you have an idea how it's not a good thing. It's something that accumulates when you have fatty acids, fat that is not getting in the fat cells, but is starting to accumulate in various tissues in the body, to include our liver, our kidneys, our heart, and our skeletal muscle. And this is not good. I mean, it really gums up your muscle, and your skeletal muscle is so important for a whole bunch of reasons I'm not going to go into because I've been talking for a while. But now I'm going to share with you some things you can do to improve it. Okay, but before we go there, anybody got any questions? Anybody want to share anything? I see Sandy is here. What's up, Sandy? Sandy, see ya. I'm just going to stop there. So Sandy says you always do your job. Thank you for that. Well, thank you, Sandy. Part of the goal is like, how can I be aware of something as God has put me in a position where I get it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get real estate. I really don't. I don't get auto mechanic. I'm not a guy that fix it guy. Some of my friends who they go, man, I wish I did some things like you. I like how you do the nutrition thing. I go, man, I like how you can fix anything in the house. I'm the guy that had, I call the plumber. I call the guy that can fix the gutter. I call and find somebody who's an electrician. God didn't give me those skills. Now, there's some things I'll try. I'll go and change the oil, right? I can put some gas in your car. I can fix, or hang a photo on the wall. There's a few things I can do, but I don't have those gifts. I don't. But this is my gift, and I'm supposed to share it. And I got to be real about it. Got to be true. Okay, so don't hate me. Thank me. And I'm going to do the same because we all have different gifts and we can all learn from each other. I do want to encourage you, if you have not checked out our detox drop, for those who have, we have a 30-day opportunity, right? So the supplements that come with our detox drop, we now have it in a 30-day formula. And it's interesting. I was talking to one of my clients this morning who has this skin condition. And I was sharing with her, which I didn't know she had the skin condition, but I was sharing with her how one of my clients has the skin condition. And when she was doing the detox drop, it improved dramatically. And when she stopped doing the detox drop, the skin condition came back. So she started to follow the nutrition plan with the detox drop, and the skin condition kind of stayed where it was. And so we figured, okay, well, let's bring back in the mixture of supplements, the blend. So she brought back the blend and the skin condition improved. So who knows? I'll find out more. I'm going to talk to a dermatologist because maybe it's a combination of the nutrition plan. I think it has something to do with the way we do the first meal of the day. and maybe a blend of some of the supplements. That's what I think. I'm guessing. I don't know. That's my gut. Okay. All right, you guys. Now here's some cool things that I haven't really shared much. I've talked about it, but this is a big part of the solution. Okay, and it's called short chain fatty acids. So short chain fatty acids are also called a postbiotic, right? So you have prebiotics, and that's basically foods, fruits and vegetables that have dietary fiber. When you consume that, it mixes with the live bacteria in your gut microbiome. And then together that all produces short chain fatty acids, which is a postbiotic. And those short chain fatty acids do some really cool things. One, short chain fatty acids release this thing called GLP-1, right? By going to the pancreas and helping or stimulating an increase of insulin. This is a good thing. It could be a bad thing if it was over the top, but this is like a good thing, okay, when this happens. So short chain fatty acids, meaning you're eating fruits and vegetables. Some of my clients are not eating their fruits and vegetables. I was talking to one of my clients the other day. For whatever reason, she was eating protein for breakfast that would have fat in it, protein and fat for lunch, protein and fat for dinner. I'm like, you might as well be doing keto, because nowhere in that is that a fat burning meal. Not even a little bit. So I said, if you want to lose weight, you got to bring in some carbs in the form of fruits and vegetables. And that can include, your fast carbs, pasta, grains, potatoes, couscous, quinoa, like mix it up. So follow the methodology. Don't get caught up in like, well, I didn't eat much. You could cut your calories. You could go there thinking that's going to help you. It ain't helping you. The only time we encourage people to eat something similar to that is when they're doing the detox drop, or once they understand how to do that, then they will make that. That could actually be a breakfast for that person, if you know what I'm saying. Okay. Now, short chain fatty acids also work magic with our liver, our muscle tissues, our fat cells, and our pancreas, where there can be insulin resistance. So when I'm eating broccoli and asparagus and I'm making my slow carb, Cobb salad, man, I know I'm doing my liver a good deed. Short chain fatty acids, again, eating your fruits and your vegetables, stops the release of fat into the bloodstream from the fat cells. So when you're eating, and this is a really fascinating paper that I read. I loved it. When you're eating fruits and vegetables, it literally can block the release of fat. Remember how I said you can get fatty liver and you can get, fat on your kidneys and you can experience this whole thing that we're calling lipotoxicity from the fat bleeding out of the fat cell and then circulating to those tissues, those organs. Well, if you're eating your fruits and vegetables the way we teach, it will block the release of the fat in the fat cell that gets into the bloodstream, which is a good thing. Also, when you're eating like this, it will increase absorption of glucose in the muscles by activating this thing called GLUT4. Now, I do a seminar where I show how GLUT4 works, but GLUT4 is a molecule inside of your cells that makes it possible for glucose to get out of the blood and into the cells. This is activated with the hormone insulin, as well as through exercise and certain types of exercise. So I'm getting a little nerdy, and I apologize. But it's important to know that when you have healthy muscles, skeletal muscle, that can be responsible for about 80% of the sugar that you consume that gets in your blood, getting out of the blood and into the muscle cells. But if your muscle cells are gaining fat, then your muscles aren't optimizing their ability to take up sugar. You see how all this starts to connect? And it all comes back to the same Same old understanding, basic understanding. And the last thing is that when you're eating a good amount of short chain fatty acids, it can stop the uptake of fat into the liver. So when someone says, when I talk to my clients, they go, well, I'm tired of eating these, this or that. And they have fatty liver. I go, okay, if you're eating Greek yogurt, I'm thinking about one of my clients, Lisa. I hope you're having your Greek yogurt, Lisa, or you had it this morning. And you add those berries, slow carbs to it. And let's say that's your quick and easy breakfast. That is helping your liver, your fatty liver, from becoming fattier. And if you're doing everything else, then it's helping to bring down the fat. So eating fruits and vegetables stop the uptake of fat into the liver. That's fascinating. Now, some of you don't like to eat vegetables. I get it. And you've probably heard someone say, hey, I saw this advertisement on TV that, because I don't like to eat, vegetables, then if I take this supplement, I'm going to get my vegetables that way. If you believe that, you really believe that man can create something that's better than what God made available to us. I have some beachfront property in Montana I would like to sell you right now. You can Venmo me, I'll sell it to you, and it'll be there. Seriously. Guys, use your common sense. There's a lot of marketing out there, and they will come across convincing. And there's a lot of doctors that will put on a doctor's coat, and they will endorse these things. That don't mean shit. At the end of the day, you need to be informed. That's ridiculous. And if you know a doctor who really believes what they believe and it contradicts with some of the things that I'm sharing, or a personal trainer, a nutritionist or a dietitian, and they're saying something that's completely opposite, ask them if they would be a guest. Tell them I would love to interview them. And, I'm not going to be mean. We're just going to have an open conversation. Because what I've learned, like I had these doctors that call my name out on Instagram and on Facebook. We're going to have this whole conversation about weight loss drugs, and they're going to prove that Robert's wrong and they're Harvard grads. And I go, well, let's just have a conversation. They will not do it. There's some doctors who are listening to me all the time on Facebook and social media. They know me. We have side conversations, and they encourage people to take some of these crazy ass drugs, but they will never. And I've asked them, would you be willing to just have a conversation with me about it? You can bring all of the data that you have. I'll bring mine. We can all agree to disagree. And if you can teach me and open my eyes to something that I think would help me help other people, then that's what I'm doing. I want that. Help me help others. Take me to school, and I don't mind being corrected live. I really don't, because I'm going to be. I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in what I bring to the table, and understand when I say I'm confident, that doesn't mean. All right, let me tell you what that means to me when I say I'm confident. I'm confident. However, let's say someone came on and they opened my eyes to something, and it gets me to think a little differently, or maybe they get me to see that I'm wrong in a certain area. I'm okay with that, because I feel like, man, I'm in a better position to give better information to people. I don't want to be out there just constantly sharing information that's not accurate. I don't want to be that person. Right. And that's why I always throw it out there about personal trainers and nutritionists and dietitians and people who are out there influencing people around fitness. Most of them they're lying. They're sharing information that's wrong, and you guys grab it and run around like it's the gospel. And there's people who are sharing that information. They're regurgitating wrong information. I saw someone the other day that talked about muscle burning. Muscle does not burn fat. Stop it. It doesn't. So it's little things that they're sharing and just kind of just talking, and they're not accurate. And if I'm wrong, then they will correct me, and then I'll be a better person for it. All right. So that was a whole bunch, you guys. Now, when you go to the food as medicine course, we won't go into deep, well, some things we will, but the entire conference is for you to be informed. And then every lesson and everything that we're teaching inside of the conference builds onto each other. So if a person goes with the modules in order, right? So if I learn module 1 and module 2, that's going to help me really understand module 3. Whereas you just went straight to module 3, you'll feel like, yeah, that was kind of hard to understand. That's because you didn't do module 1 and module 2. So the whole goal is to go in sync. And what we're adding to it now is at the end of, or with each lesson, right? And the things that you learn in the conference, it's going to build on each other. And I don't want it to be overwhelming, right? So let's say that after a weekend of learning, you learn 30 things. Okay, let's say 30. Now, at first, you go, whoa, that's a lot, man. That's brain overload. I agree. When you look at it from the big picture, 30, that's a lot, right? We talked about lipotoxicity. That's one thing. So imagine 30. Well, if each thing you walk away with 3 key understandings, and those 3 key understandings makes it possible for you to have a better understanding of the next 3 things. If there was 10 sessions, that's 10 times 3, that's 30. So if it's done masterfully, then it's a win. Think of all the conferences. If you guys have ever gone to a conference, you go to a conference and you learn a little bit, you sit with your friends, you kind of watch, you hear some inspirational stories, blah, 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 and you had a good weekend and you go back home. And you don't remember hardly anything. You may get a little workbook. It just highlighted who was talking. And you have a couple things, but all of those things is really just regurgitating. You didn't leave really understanding anything anymore. You paid for a plane ticket. You paid for a hotel room. You paid for food out. You went away from your family. Okay, maybe you just needed a getaway. Maybe you do it because I just need to get away. It feels good. But when I go to a conference and I'm not walking away more informed, then what the hell was that? I don't need to just go on Facebook and say, hey, look at me. I'm at a conference. Hey, I'm on the plane. Hey, check me out. I mean, what is that? It's kind of like I have 2 clients that they're putting their money together and they're just going to fly out to Ventura, California. They're going to stay at a hotel and they just want to pay for my time. I was like, okay, so we'll spend 2 days together. Right. So if they come in on Friday, we'll go have dinner. We spend all day Saturday, maybe a little bit of time on Sunday. And my goal is to teach them what they want to be taught. And I'm not going to kill them financially, but it's almost like they're having a personal retreat. You know, one of the people said, hey, I want to come out for a weekend. I was like, hey, I have a 2-bedroom. You can stay with me. And I'll cook. We'll hang out, cook breakfast. We'll do lunch together. We'll go out to a restaurant. And if I don't have my kids, why not? I mean, I don't have a girlfriend. I'm single. I'm not, I'm available to learn, to teach. Let's just let's hang out. You know what I mean? Like, one of my buddies, when I was in the Marine Corps with, he asked me the same thing. I go, dude, I have an extra bedroom. I said, if we spend a weekend together, I said, look, this is what I'll charge you. And I said, you'll just stay with me so you don't got to pay for a hotel. So, and then, I have a pool where I live and you don't got to get a rental car. I'll pick you up. Man, that's like $1,400, $1,500. He's saving because he don't have to get a rental car. So, no transportation needed. He doesn't have to get a hotel. Food, I'm going to take care of it. If he wants to help me out with some groceries, fine. We'll go out to eat and, that's not going to like break the bank. And I go, and we're going to be able to hang out together and you're going to learn. And I'm going to make it where you leave being more informed. Now, I don't know how many times I'm going to do this. I ain't putting it out there like this is a new product or service. I'm just sharing with you guys kind of like I don't even know where that came. It came up because we're talking about conferences and the way I want a conference to be where people come, whether it's online like ours, or if I go somewhere, I want to walk away really better understanding something. I want to be inspired too, but I want to just have a better understanding. So there you have it. All right, you guys. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your weekend. I am so happy tomorrow, as I record this on a Saturday. Tomorrow is the 24th of September, and my eldest daughter is going to be 16 tomorrow. So I am very, very, very pumped about that. I am a very proud daddy. They're good kids. I'm very thankful. All right. If you have questions, reach out to me. I am around. I am available. Don't put off doing something for yourself. Okay, whether it's joining our upcoming course, whether it's getting the right supplements, whether I'm going to start training myself to become a coach. Because some people are going to become a coach out of this course we're putting on. Because they're going to have this knowledge, and it's great to have it for yourself. But they're going to be in a position where, you know what, maybe I will put myself in a position where I can help others. Because we're getting into a position as a company with my partners where we're going to be able to, where we need coaches, meaning we can actually give them clients, and if they have too many, they can say, hey, I'm good right now. I'm just going to stick with the ones I have. Fine. That means we just need more coaches. So a coach can get their own clients, but we're going to be in a position where we can actually give coaches clients. That's where it's headed. So, all right. And if you came in the middle or you missed it or missed anything, I strongly recommend that you listen from the beginning. Take notes on what we went over. There's some good information. You'll walk away with a better understanding of what lipotoxicity is. And it's basically where certain areas in your body can become toxic because fat is accumulating in that area, like your liver, like your kidneys, your heart, your muscle, where that's not supposed to happen. And that becomes toxic, and it causes you to become inflamed, and it creates a whole bunch of disorder in the body. And when I say your doctor probably never told you, why would they? Because there's no drug to treat lipotoxicity. If there was, then of course you would have heard about it. But it's happening, and you may be able to bring it up to them, and they'll go, oh yeah. And then you say, so what does that mean again? And then they explain it. Well, fatty acids, toxic, well, meaning, it could be toxic, and they may just talk about the fat cell. But lipotoxicity is not about the fat cells, because the fat cell is not taking in the fat the way it normally would. So fat ends up accumulating in other tissues in the body. That's it. And then if you say, well, and you're just playing around and just seeing how much they know, or you just want to, maybe they do know something they can help you. So what can I do to help with that? What's all the other things? Of course, exercise and eat the way we're talking about, but the things that I talked about, right? If you're not eating a good amount of fruits and vegetables as part of your nutrition habits, you are more likely to have lipotoxicity. And our recommendation is eat them in fat-burning meals. And if you know how to do that, then you're ahead of the game. If you don't know how to do it, then learn how to do it. All right? All right, you guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Have a